94.4 Spice.
All right, at 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, coming into the final conversation for this week on Kenya's Biggest Conversation. So you've been with us tuning in on our live streams on YouTube and Facebook and on X as well, and wherever you're tuned in terrestrially around the nation and, of course, around the world, and our audiences on KTN. Thanks for being here this morning. We're going to go into a conversation this hour and we look at some of the things that are happening in the nation, some of the things that are happening in the country, what you think about them. And so off the jump, we're going to say, you know what, guys, join us on our conversation. We'll let you know when we open the phone lines for you to join us to have that conversation. But keep your comments coming in on our live streams, YouTube and Facebook as well. All right, as we get into that conversation, let's remind ourselves about what the KCB Foundation is doing through the 2GA program.
Yeah, we've been talking about KCB offering solutions to the unemployed who enter the labor market annually, over 1 million. And KCB says we have a solution to that. But when we talk about solutions, just what are the numbers looking like? As KCB has trained and created 150,000 jobs, 555, trained 35,195 youth, incubated 10,954 youth, and disbursed 267 million shillings loan to support their enterprises, and issued 2,225 startup toolkits to help these young people start their trade, and has trained 6,535 businesses on financial planning. KCB says there is a solution, there is a problem, but we have the solution. We will train you. We will not only leave it at that, we will give you mentors, we'll give you tools of trade and make sure that your business is what? A success. All this information, kcb.com/foundation.
Indeed. All right. So, CT, remind us about today's proverb.
Yes, I will remind you about today's proverb. We are. This is the final day of our proverbs from the country of 1,000 hills. Well, if hills could grow, who knows? By next year there may be 2,000. Yeah. Caution is not cowardice. Even ants march armed.
Can't be too careful, I think, for anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Are we getting into a conversation this morning? It's a bit touchy-feely. And a couple of weeks ago, we did see video of, about 10 days ago, we saw a video of two ladies who had made their way into the Ministry of Health office. A number of words were being used in terms of what happened. And they were... essentially, they stormed the office. Yes, they did. And they interrupted a press conference, or, at the beginning of the press conference, said they wanted to come in and have a conversation. But the thrust of what they were trying to share was that SHA was not working. And they said, essentially, look, we've paid up, but my baby, for example, cannot get treatment. And she was giving the example of the woman who was with her and said, this thing is not working. People have been able to get to the hospital. People have been able to get to the medical facility, but then we're not seeing anything in terms of movement thereafter. So, it took everybody by storm, and that video did the rounds and everybody saw it. And we said, okay, well, look, if it needed, public outcry has started to come out in many different arenas. What we saw yesterday after that was a bit shocking, because then this lady, and we'll call her name. Her name is Grace
Joki
Muli. And she was in hospital yesterday. She's 61. She was in hospital yesterday. And then the video that we saw was of 3 police officers, bundling her out, escorted by another 2 police officers, and they arrested her. We then heard later on that members of her family had tried to go to the police station where she's currently being held. They'd asked for the charges. They were not told. They asked for bail bond, not been given. She's still being held. Is she going to be presented to court? Nobody knows what the issue is. The question has arisen right now. What did she do? There's a lot of speculation around at the moment that if you complain, if you raise your voice about certain things that you see going wrong and do not work, has the right to express that dissatisfaction then been taken away from Kenyans?
Taken away, or is there an attempt to? You see, if something is wrong and someone states that it is so, is it then not incumbent upon the duty bearer to ensure that that particular query or complaint is addressed? Meaning, this is what you complained about. Where exactly was it? All right, we have gone there, we have communicated, it has been addressed. And to confirm that it has been addressed, go back there.
And I think let us even just go back to why she was at the ministry. Was SHA systems down? Yes, they were for 2 days. She went to the ministry to raise her concerns because at the hospital, she did not get any assistance.
Yep.
She's been arrested and actually she's being accused of causing public disturbance.
Public disturbance?
Public
Okay.
disturbance
Okay.
at the ministry.
Okay.
And with that, even yesterday, as the Sun was speaking, they had denied to see her. The advocate was denied to see her. The only person who was allowed to see her was the husband at night, and they were trying to negotiate to find out if she could be released on bail or whatnot. Which begs the question, even at the point where you are being arrested, she demanded that these police officers identify themselves. The advocate said they did not identify themselves. And we keep on talking about police refusing to identify themselves or telling you why you're being arrested.
Eric, if their bosses don't
Dennis.
adhere...
Then-
Sorry.
I love you too, City.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If their bosses do not adhere
To court orders.
to court summons, direct disobedience, what do you expect of the officers?
Yeah.
The example has been set. You can ignore any aspects of the constitution of the law that you find unsuitable to you. You can ignore
Yeah.
it. Now, the problem with that is if that example is set and the citizenry also begin to follow suit, what then do you think we are fermenting?
Okay. Let's look at some facts. As of the day when Grace, in the company of this other lady who went with a baby to the Ministry of Health, as of that day, were the things that she was speaking of actually fact? I'm not saying truth. There's a difference between truth and fact. Was it a fact that they tried to access the system and it was down? Tick. Yes.
The government agreed there was a problem.
Was it a fact that in the company of Grace was this woman and her baby who needed medical attention? She had paid up and she was not able to access the system. Fact.
Fact.
Was it a fact that they had spent many days trying to do this and they had to go travel back and forth? They were also in the presence of other people who she made very clear were at the gate that day who also could not access. And so they said, you know what, the best thing for us to do is to come here and maybe you guys can do something about it because clearly this doesn't work. Fact.
Moses Kuria admitted here
That
the
there
systems
was,
were down.
the systems were down and
Yes.
that there was an issue.
Yes.
So when you're seeking medical care and medical attention and the system that you're bound to use, whether you like it or not, in order for you to access this care is down, are you frustrated? Yes. Are you sicker? Yes. I think it was quite ironic that even where they arrested her yesterday was in a hospital where she went to see a doctor. All right? So now you have to ask yourself the question, if these things are immersed in fact, under what circumstances are what she was doing at the Ministry of Health then criminal?
You see, the reason why we understand from our laws that when someone is arrested, they are supposed to be presented to court.
To court.
Why? Because there's a reason why you've been arrested.
Yeah.
And that reason is what's taking you to court. Now, the arbitrator of these matters will be the magistrate, will be the judge. Now, their job is to listen to the accusations and determine whether indeed you did commit an offense.
Yes.
Okay?
Creating a public... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
Creating a public disturbance, specifically creating a disturbance in a manner likely to cause a breach of peace, is actually an offense in Kenya. It's considered an offense in Kenya under Section 95 of the Penal Code, making it a criminal act punishable by law, essentially causing a scene or disruptive behavior that could potentially lead to violence is considered an offense. Now, the legal provision of this Section 95 of the Penal Code defines that the offense of creating a disturbance likely to cause a breach of the peace. So you have to ask yourself, was the peace breached? This includes acts like brawling, shouting loudly, using abusive language, or engaging in aggressive behavior in public places that could incite violence or disrupt public order. Now, the penalty for such a thing, depending on the severity of the disturbance, a person found guilty could face imprisonment or a fine.
Yes, but this happens when you're taken to court.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
in this case, in that, the Penal Code also makes a provision for you to access bail bond.
Yes.
And in
Yes.
this case, she has been denied this.
Yes.
But a case like that, you are supposed to be given a bond.
And it can be a personal one as
Yes,
well.
yes,
We've
it
had
can.
Justice Thursday conversations here where they've told us,
many.
yes, you can actually get a personal bond, especially for something like this.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
But my question is, beyond all the frill of the legalese and the arrest, what did she do? What did she do?
She disturbed the peace.
She pretty much just demanded that the systems that are in place work as they should.
And then I have to ask another question. Today, I'm just asking questions. Who arrested her? Don't tell me the police.
No, we are told it was the police, but we do not know because they didn't identify themselves.
Yeah.
Who arrested her?
And if, by the way, reports that we've heard is that she is actually at a police station.
Capitol Hill.
Yes, and that her husband has been allowed to see her. Okay? But the other relatives and the lawyers have not had access. Okay? So we know where she is.
And even as by the time the lady was going to the ministry headquarters to seek for assistance, she was leaving Kenyatta. Yesterday, she was arrested in a private hospital in Isli, And even at that point when the son was talking, let me just say what the son was saying, that the mother is diabetic.
Oh dear.
She is hypertensive and she has a critical heart condition. And the police manhandled her, forcing her into that Subaru to take her to police station, regardless of the condition that she is in.
What are we breeding here?
You know, she's hypertensive. She's diabetic. Let me
Yes.
just explain to you. Both those conditions are exacerbated by stress. Both. So you put someone in an uncomfortable position where the stress levels are heightened, then her health is suddenly in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And she's not in her first youth. You know, it is unfortunate that a picture is being painted here of intolerance.
Yeah.
This lady should have been taken to court so that this matter is decided. For someone to be arrested, this thing must be serious.
Yes.
Because there are many people who say things and do things and nobody arrests them.
Or did something happen that was away from the glare of cameras? Did something else occur
Or did
for
she do
which she's,
something
or did she
else
do something else
that we didn't see?
we
or
didn't
don't know?
see or that we are not aware of?
Yeah, but that's why it is important to go to court.
Exactly,
Yes,
so that
yes.
that can be made clear. Because unfortunately, what you did see for many people today would you say, okay, maybe a slap on the wrist at best, and say, okay, don't walk into the ministry. But then, did something else happen? But
You
for
know-
what we saw, for what everybody saw, and the complaint across board right now is that there are too many parts of this thing that's not working. Again, we sat with the senior advisor here,
Yeah.
and he admitted to the fact that, okay, fine, it's not working in this area, in this area, in this area, but we're going to do what we can to make sure that it does. So it is no secret to anybody that the thing does have its quirks. It does.
I would,
But then you
I
have
would
to
even
ask the
go
over-
further and say it must.
For a new system,
It
absolutely.
must.
It must have its
It
issues.
must have
So,
issues.
do you deny Kenyans the right to clamor about something? If somebody is sick and they're looking for health care for which they've paid for, essentially, right? Under the auspices of government, which says that you will receive this care under the umbrella of universal health care, it is due to you. Do you then reserve the right to be frustrated for fear of being arrested? How many more people want to complain but can't?
You
Is
see-
that
you
where
see-
the country is going? That the level of intolerance to certain issues has risen so high that you want to keep your people quiet rather than tell you where the problem is?
Complaint is feedback.
Yes.
It's data. It's data that you consume and you inquire further and say, okay, where exactly was this problem? Okay, what was it again? Okay, how do we address it? You see, the complaints will go down when these matters are addressed.
Yes, and as well, it is an opportunity for the government to sit. It is free information that they have on what they ought to do. Arresting and silencing these people, arresting and silencing Kenyans will not help your case. It is you working on the problems that will help your case.
The citizens are not the problem. Someone is pointing out to something that is actually not working. Pointing out and saying, look, they may be dramatic about it, but they're pointing out. They're saying, we went to get the help that we were told we can get through this process. We are not getting it.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. If you've developed a system, right, it has its different ports, whatever, you start from here and you get to this, there's the back end, there's the front end. In order for you to know that system works, you're going to have users. They're going to be in here. There will be folks in the back end, whether it's the practitioners at the hospitals, whether it's the medical staff, whether it's the people who come to access care, right? Who would you want to give you feedback as to whether your thing is working?
The consumer.
Abi?
Yes.
Or am I crazy?
Consumer.
No. Is it not the people who use the thing who you actually should? It's prescriptive here that I'm being. You actually want the users to come back to you and say, hold up, Dennis, this is where this thing that you said would be like this. I've come to tell you it's not working. Can we tweak it? But what you want me to do in this case is, number one, to keep quiet, or number two, not be vexed. When somebody is sick and they can't access because of 1, 2, 3, they must go back home. They've traveled, they've spent resources to come and get there. They can't access. They must go home and come and try tomorrow. But what you want, Dennis, with your system is that even if I complain, I should do it in a manner like I'm kind of, begging you to please fix the thing because it's not working. I can't get upset. I can't be frustrated. I must smile and say, this thing is not working. Would you please fix it? This is what you're saying needs to happen. But the people to actually give you the feedback so that you can go to the back end and fix it, so that you can apply what you need to do to make it work. These are the people who ought to tell you where it's not working. These are the people who will come and tell you, I've paid my premiums for 12 months. I still can't access. I went to X hospital. They told me to go to another one. I went to this hospital, said they cannot treat me. Those are the people that you need. You need these people to tell you that it's not working. And I don't think that there's somebody sitting in their house today who has nothing to do and gets on social media and just says, guess what, guys? SHA is not working. I don't think that there are people who are doing that.
Yeah. And then as well, let's remember why this system is not working. It is not working because from the word go, there was no piloting that was done for this SHA for you to determine what problems are there, how do we fix it, and how do we move forward. They advised us and told us that they just jumped right into it. All these issues with SHA is as a result of failing to conduct a very integral part before launching that exercise. Today, Kenyans are speaking and they're telling you, we need this fixed. Arresting them and telling them to be silent will not help your case.
The CS of Health, Dr. Baraza, said something during a press conference even before. She acknowledged that there were issues.
Yes.
She even went as far as said, if you have a problem where you come and we can see about what? Giving you a refund, she said the words, or we can make sure that it is working. She acknowledged that there was a problem. If the person who sits at the helm of this ministry has told you, yes, we acknowledge that there are issues, we're working on it, what stops people from complaining about the fact that it isn't working? Whereas the energy, and look at the resources that you spent to go halfway across the city to arrest somebody yesterday. Why can't we expend that energy to make sure that the thing actually works? And this is an issue. Kenyans are feeling muzzled. Kenyans are feeling that they cannot speak out over something that they feel needs to be sorted out. And the ways in which this should be done, perhaps we need to hear from them again.
If you contextualize everything that's happening, unfortunately, the conclusion is going to be that anyone who seems to raise a voice that in the remotest way sounds like a criticism of either government activity, a government ministry, or even says something that is considered negative to what has been spoken of by government officials or the president himself, that you will not be tolerated. Now, the intolerance seems to be manifested in the way people get arrested. If indeed something is wrong, why don't you educate the public as to how the law works by making sure that wrongdoers are taken to court, so that the court process is followed and we understand exactly what is what? Because there may be details. As lay people, there are things about the law that we don't know. We don't even understand. But when we follow cases that are in court, we then understand. You see, like now, because this lady has been arrested for being a public nuisance, we've now been forced to understand what our law says about it.
Yes.
What disturbing the peace means. And how you can say an example of a disturbance of the peace, of the peace would be, this is what happens on Friday. By the time you get to this hour, your brain is detaching from very many things. But you get to understand how it is that this thing is applied.
Yeah. And I think, Siri, let's just read some of the responses from our listeners. My prince, the best way to deal with these people is to stop funding impunity, boycott taxes, withdraw from the system, withdraw all your cash from the banks. This is pretty much what the actions being taken by the government is forcing people to do. Now, but why arrest her? The CS Health issued a statement at the time and actually confirmed that shift was not working as the lady had complained about. That is according to Ogola. And as well as, let's talk to Miss Samia, who says, Adrian, above and beyond, feedback mechanism is Kenya government simply stating that they do not have mitigating alternative procedures to keep things running. These procedures, mechanisms, simply are reconciled afterwards. If the case, they should just resign or tell Kenyans there's simply no government in Kenya.
Well, there is a government. There is a government because the police force are part of a government apparatus, a government division, a government department within a certain ministry. We do have a government, and the government, we have a judiciary, we have parliament. These are, and then we have the citizenry. We do have a government.
Okay, we're going to hear from you guys when we come back after this break. Let's take a look at what is happening with weather and traffic. Question is, getting to the point whereby they might start being afraid of speaking out because, you know, you never know what could happen to you if you actually do. Getting to the point where you're getting scared. We'll open the phone lines when we come back from this break, and we will look at weather and traffic, and I'll let you know what those numbers are to call when we come back right after this.
At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are forging the next generation of media moguls, driving economic transformation and shaping the future. Introducing our flagship program, the Media Mastery Course. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. But we don't stop at technical skills. We empower you with life and entrepreneurship skills. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Spice FM, The Standard Newspaper, and more, you'll have unparalleled access to real-world experience and opportunities. Enroll now and ignite your journey in the heart of the creative economy. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
Every home is a lifestyle, and every property is an opportunity for investments. We shine the spotlight on properties with solid returns, connecting aspiring homeowners as well as investors with boundless opportunities. If you're ready to take the next step in your property journey, our First Avenue team is available to guide you through every stage. Join me this Sunday for all this and so much more. Only on The Property Show. As always, there is something for everyone.
or would you rather keep quiet about it? We're going to take your calls this morning on 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. As we still keep looking at your comments on our streams this morning, just to hear from you. I mean, getting to the point whereby, you know, Kenyans have been called all manner of things recently and said, you know, you can't complain. And if you can't complain, but if you do it in a respectable manner, and then we'll see if, you know, we can do something about it. But then I think for me, and I can say for me, it's very clear. You open your mouth and you could be arrested. And I think that's really pushing the envelope in terms of what should happen, as opposed to addressing the issue, which is an issue. Are we going to deal with, how many more arrests are we going to deal with?
I mean, in any app that does exist, one of the easiest ways of finding ways to help your situation is to always listen to the responses of your consumers. And the woman who went, Grace to be specific, and the other lady, those are the consumers of SHA. It did not work for them. And they only came to tell you that it is not working. What you do with that information is really critical. Arresting them, again, I repeat, is not a solution. Working on the issues is the solution they were looking for.
Yeah, indeed. So that question remains. Are you comfortable enough to continue to, you know, put up voices in terms of what happens when something doesn't work? Are you ready to do that? Or are we saying that, you know, you're don't have the right to do that anymore for fear of something happening to you? We'll take your calls and comments 0719-012-600. I will start taking those calls in a minute, as well as looking at some more comments that are coming in on socials.
Yeah, and let me just take Chris Maura says, security agents in Kenya want Kenyans to be as afraid the way our neighboring countries are. Speaking about Uganda, nothing remains the same forever. Anything forced rarely works. In the world we live in, it always backfires.
Indeed. Okay, well, let's take some of those calls. Hello, good morning. Tell us where you're calling in from. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, talk to us. What's your name and where are you calling from this morning?
My name is Angela. I'm calling from Nairobi. I feel very bad that Grace was arrested. And to answer your question, it means... Good morning.
It's okay. Just go ahead. What you need to do is reduce the volume on your radio.
Oh, sorry. Nairobi. I feel very bad that Grace was arrested.
Yes, go ahead.
We cannot complain.
Go ahead, my dear.
Yes, it means if something is going wrong, we cannot complain.
And
so, SHA is supposed to help us. It's supposed to support us. I am a woman in my 60s. So if they will arrest Grace, it's just sad.
I hear you.
It's really sad. So it means we don't complain. And I feel like someone is systemically trying to get us back on the streets so that they can kill those who will be on the streets.
Do you feel it's going to stop people from complaining into the future about something that might go wrong?
Of course, it's going to stop most of the people from complaining. And that is their end game. That is what they want, because they are ruling us with fear. It is not right. Health is fundamental. So if I won't complain about not getting good health services, then what should I do? No, it's painful. It's not nice.
I hear you, Mom.
And that lady needs to be taken to court. Follow the rule of law. As far as I'm concerned, she disturbed no peace. Her peace was disturbed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your comments this morning. Let's take some other calls this morning. Chris calling in from Doha. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Madam Du.
Yes.
I'm calling from Macha.
Yes.
Now, I think a few days ago the president said people should stop diarrheaing. That is a potentially inflammatory, what you can say, statement that could disturb the peace. Why is the president not under arrest? I think we are all cowards as Kenyans. We just don't want to ask the good questions. We don't want to stand on our ground. We are afraid. And part of the reason, I think the generation that was before me, I'm in my 30s.
Yes.
They were raised to fear the government. The government is the ultimate leader. You cannot question the government. That is how they were raised. And then they raised us the same way. You cannot question the government. And I don't think that is right, because if they're in charge and they're in charge of our affairs, then we should be able to say what goes on with our affairs. That's all I can say, because I don't think you can arrest someone who is hypertensive for simply asking the right questions.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why you should do that. Even if you take that case to the court, that is a potentially inflammatory discussion. You could hang everybody that is in that courtroom. Is that courtroom a crime scene? Is that judge a criminal for entertaining that kind of questioning? I mean, I don't understand what this law means. You cannot disturb the peace. Even by definition itself, this conversation is potentially criminal.
Even what we're talking about today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, should we all be arrested for listening to you and talking to you? Is that what we are saying here?
Those are the questions, Chris, and I think that we need to keep bringing them out because then let's get clarity then on what you can actually do or what you can't do, and I think it needs to come out.
By definition, that law is just criminal by itself. It's unconstitutional. You can't tell people they can't ask questions. Then how do you come out? How do you come to a conclusion? How do you come to solve problems if people can't ask questions?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for your contribution,
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from Matthew, who's calling in from Nakuru. Matthew, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm a very, very bitter person.
Why is that?
We had something called Beyond Zero, launched by Margaret Kenyatta.
Yes.
And this is actually a program that worked. I never saw any kind of questions being asked the same way SHA is being battered right, left, and center. If something is working, you do not need to keep shouting that it's working. People would actually attest to the fact that it's working. Grace and this other lady, and you know what makes me so bitter is when Grace went to the Ministry of Health, she was accompanied by a lady who was post-operative. She had a cesarean section done. She carried a baby all the way from Kenyatta to the Ministry of Health offices. Do you know how dangerous that is? Yet now, what crime did she commit? Just pointing out that something is not working.
Right.
If it is criminal, then they should arrest all of us.
Do you think that there is a
right
need?
now?
Yes.
Right now, my mom requires surgery. It's right now the mess that is there in this SHA nonsense. The best I can do is actually seek that surgery outside the country. You get?
Yes.
And given an option, if the systems were working, no, I believe no Kenyan would actually have an issue. There's no Kenyan who would be on social media or on TV and radio complaining.
So, Matthew, what you're saying...
things are not working.
So what you're saying, Matthew, is that by virtue of the fact that people are complaining, that means that there's something wrong and the attention should be towards fixing it.
Right now, effort that government needs to be making is correcting the situation. They do not need to be on media every other time insisting that MPs need to mobilize people to register. You know, when NHIF was there, anyone who fell sick, kila mtu hata alikuwa anachukua that personal initiative. Alikuwa anasema sisikii vizuri na NHIF yangu haiko valid, wacha nichangamke. I get that working. Why are people not looking at that direction right now? And then there's also that one question that no one is asking. Everyone contributed to NHIF,
right,
to the tune of billions and billions of shillings. When NHIF shifted to SHA, where did all that money go? Because hospitals are complaining that they've not been paid.
Right.
No one is asking those questions.
And those are the questions to ask.
I am a very, very bitter person.
I hear you, and I think that there's a lot of this that needs to come out. We cannot keep quiet. There can't be, silence about this anymore. So, Matthew, I mean, look, we keep pushing these conversations.
And just like the previous caller before me said, it's unfortunate that, the political class right now, they want to sell fear. Najua initially, watu walikuwa wanajua ukiongea anything about government, things are, we are not there right now. If it's a mess, it's a mess. Let's call a spade, not a big spoon.
Indeed, and work on everything that you can do to fix it as opposed to threatening people. I hear what you're saying. Matthew, thank you for your comments. Let's take some other calls from folks this morning, but keep pushing on that conversation. Hello, good morning. Tell us where you're calling from and your name.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Samuel.
Yes, Samuel. Can I ask you to turn that volume on your radio, please?
Yeah, it's off.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, now, I'm one of the people who actually complained some time back on one of the local dailies. Went on TV about SHA.
Yes.
And the moment I left the TV station, I was told that the Ministry of Health officials are looking for my number.
Looking for your number, okay.
Yes. But the editor refused to give them the number because he didn't think that they had the right intention.
Okay.
We cannot continue like that. If something is not working, it's not working. And people need to give us Kenyans time for us to give them feedback and for them to allow us to critique them.
What are some of the things that you complained about?
I had an accident 2 years ago, and unfortunately I lost my wife in that accident. My sister was in the same car. She got treated. She had 3 surgeries, fully covered by NHIF. We didn't pay even a single cent. The 4th one now came when SHA was rolled out, and they refused to pay. We had to make calls. I had to appear on TV for SHA to partly pay for her bill. We still had to cough up some money, but NHIF was paying in full. So for me to see a 61-year-old woman being pulled out of a hospital like a criminal, what did they even tell her to go to the police station and she refused? These are the issues. These are things that we need to talk about as Kenyans. Did they summon her to a police station and she refused to go? Come on. Let us even give our parents some respect. We don't need to do this.
Indeed.
Yes.
Thank you for those comments this morning. Thank you so much. And we need, you're right. We need to keep plugging in and having these conversations and putting them out there in the open. Let's take some other views from other people this morning. Thanks so much for that.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Tell us where you're calling from and your name, please.
Naitwa Jackson Daudi.
Yes, Jackson. Habari asubuhi.
Mzuri. Hii ukweli ni kwamba SHA haifanyi. Hata tulazimishwe namna gani? Nililala Kenyatta, nilipeleka ndugu yao Kenyatta wakati wa NHIF. Ika clear 70,000 bila malalamiko. Na swali kubwa ni mbona system hii ukilipa haiendi down? Ukienda kutibiwa hautokei. Umekatwa mshahara kila mahali, kila wakati, kila mwezi wakati wahitaji haudumiki, hauko kwa system ama system iko down. So usiseme kama tumefika hapa basi tumeisha. Haina shida. hii kitu haifanyi.
Na hiyo ni ukweli. Asante sana, Jackson. All right, taking more of your calls this morning. We see quite a number of you have something to say. Don't stop at just thinking it. Say it. Hello, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling in from today.
Good morning, Do.
Good morning.
This is Billy calling from Kiambu.
Yes.
Unajua, if you want to see the government is failing, it's the government that is already playing in the health of its people. Because if a woman is going to the hospital and a baby can't be treated, and when they complain they're being arrested, I think that is sometimes the president said back it is treasonous to complain about a lot of things, but I don't know if this is how he define patriotism. I believe patriotism is when we can stand and say this one is a wrong thing, this one is good, this one is fixed it. All what we want is, we don't want NHIF back. We only want this SHA to be fixed so that it becomes functional.
Absolutely.
Because if we pay for this thing, we don't see the money. The money doesn't. They don't tell us pesa ijafika juu system in hang. Unless we are now requesting with the services, when the system is hanging.
I hear you. I hear you.
People are taking us. These people are taking us for a run. This is not good. And it is high time. You know, this country, it is high time now. We take matters in our own hands and we tell this government enough is enough. Because even though, imagine last week I took a friend to the hospital.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he didn't have the SHA.
The SHA card, yes.
But he had what do you call it? He had bought an insurance with another company. Do you know the hospital admin told us we can't be treated unless we have the SHA.
And then with the SHA, in some cases, sadly,
now we took the SHA is not working. We took the whole day with somebody who is supposed to go for a surgery, registering for a SHA. Are we prioritizing the health of our people, or we are killing our people?
Good question.
Have a good morning, though.
Asante Sana, thanks for calling in this morning. Let's take some more of your calls. Hello, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Chichi.
Yes, Chichi, could you turn down the volume on your radio, please?
Okay. What I wanted to say is...
Yes.
Yeah, Kenya is a sick nation. Na mahali imefika lazima tuchukue sheria mkononi.
What does that mean?
Kila mtu achukue kura, for the government of the day is actually playing with our health. If we guys are following constitution, if Kenya actually is a constitutional country, saizi ndio Raila anapigania you. If back at home things are messy, can you trust him with the seat? Back at home things are messy and they are quiet. So it's high time. Kenya is a sick nation, na dawa yetu ya kujitibu ni kila mtu achukue kura. Whether you are young na ukifikisha age ya kuchukua kura, government of the day lazima iende 2027. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll take a couple more of your calls and then we'll also see what some of the comments are on socials this morning. Hello, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling in from. Hello? Yes.
Yes, I'm Amos Getty calling from Pipeline.
Yes, Amos.
Yes, pertaining the arrest of this HG lady that has made me to be so much bitter.
Right.
Yes, because if this thing is not working, there is no need to keep quiet. We have to shout. Yeah, alafu ni wapi imeandikwa kila regime ikikuja mpaka iweke ifutilie sekta zingine kando ndio ikuje na sekta zingine mpya.
Kweli.
Hapo ndio shida iko.
Ningependa nikuulize swali ndugu.
Yes.
Have you tried to use SHA yourself?
Okay, I've seen mobilization going on, but it is somehow confusing completely.
Have you registered with SHA?
Because if to me, I was paying NHI properly, I was paying for NHI very well. But even the procedure, we are not getting the procedure, how things are going on it. Grounds, yeah, wanaongea kwa TV kama juzi tunaona CH anaongea, kila mtu anaongea kwa nini, lakini ground hatuna mwelekezi venye hii iko hivi hakuna.
Umeweza have you registered with SHA ndugu?
Personally mimi sija register kabisa, kwa sababu kama ninaona wenzangu wanaumia tu wenye wamesha register. Even we are hoping to go for even insurance, private insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
Na shida ni NHIF was very much working well. Kwa nini ikuje itolewa kabisa? Ati mtu anasema anakuja na kitu kingine itafanya vyema.
Asante sana for your comments this morning, Ndugu. Let's hear some others, and then as we go to some other comments, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
Yes, my name is Sapin from Eldoret.
Yes. Tell us, brother.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Tell me what your thoughts are about this.
I am Metunta calling you from Eldoret.
Yes. Okay, I think we got disconnected there. I mean, look at the spectrum of comments that we're getting about this. I mean, the one thing is that, yes, if you say something is not working, and rather than look for a solution for it, that people ought not to be threatened. What are some of the comments that we're seeing?
We start with the Langat Musamo Kweli, who says, why are church leaders quiet? Why is opposition civil society group silent? Why is international community silent? Kenyans, musiuziwe woga, fight for your rights. Hi, we are dealing with a leadership that has refused to be Kenyan. It decides to lead Kenyans without divorcing itself from the cultural biases and socialized it. Now